Russian scientists just announced that they have created a time machine that moves tiny particles a fraction of a second into the past. Meaning that if these scientists are correct, they have just achieved time travel. So how exactly did these scientists do this, and what does it mean for the future of time travel? Welcome back to another steaming pile of potatoes. I'm Charlotte Dobre. On this channel we take the most interesting news stories on the internet and we make them more entertaining. Hit that sub button and the bell so you never miss one of our videos. Before I get into this one, tell me down there in those comments, what would you do if you could turn back time? Who would you visit? What would you change? Let me know down there. Alright, so little disclaimer here. Physics definitely wasn't my science subject of choice. I was definitely more of a biology kind of gal, so I'm gonna do my best to explain physics to you all. Just bear with me for a second, okay? Russian scientists at the Laboratory of Physics at the Moscow Institute of Physics and Technology say they have essentially defied the second law of thermodynamics by creating a mini time machine. No big deal whatsoever. The time machine is built from a basic quantum computer made up of qubits. A qubit is a unit of information described by a 0 or a 1. This information can be stored on an electron. According to the Russian physicists who claim to have built the time machine, the machine is able to move smaller than atom-sized objects in the opposite direction of time zero. I feel like I've lost you already. Come back. Come back. Come back. How about I use an analogy? Everybody likes analogies. The physicists gave the analogy of a break for a game of pool. When the pool balls are scattered, they split in a random way. But these physicists claim that they managed to make the balls reform in their original order inside the triangle. The experiment sought to cause qubits to become more complex, changing the pattern of zeros and ones. Order was then lost, but with another program they modified the state of the quantum computer so that it evolved backwards from chaos to order. This caused the qubits to rewind back to their original starting point. So it's like you're playing a game of pool, you break the triangle, the balls scatter, and then all of a sudden they come back to their original triangle shape. Pretty insane, right? This goes against the rules of physics that dictate the direction of events that go from the past to the future. This law governs that everything in the universe must eventually decay. This includes things like our sun, living things, and memes. Eventually memes get stale and die. Usually with the help of meme review. Shots fired! And according to the second law of thermodynamics, energy does not repeat in an infinite loop. At least, so we thought. So what does this mean for the future of time travel? Well, the scientists found that while working with just 2 qubits, time reversal was successful 85% of the time. But as soon as they jacked up that number to 3 qubits, the success rate dropped to 50%. That being said, this experiment is making huge waves in the scientific community. It is, in every respect, a breakthrough. I remember when I was watching a TV program like 15 years ago about how cell phones are going to be so small, they're going to be small enough to fit in our pockets someday. And here we are 15 years later, and we not only have cell phones small enough to fit in our pocket, we have mini computers. This time machine is the first step toward achieving time travel on a grand scale. Who knows, maybe 50 years from now we'll be able to travel to the past, and I'll be able to take back that very horrible joke. This time machine and the findings were published in the journal Scientific Reports.
The shocking footage of a time traveler vanishing moments before a tragic accident is leaving people in utter disbelief. This is one of those clips that you have to watch 100 times to catch this shadowy figure seemingly dissolve into thin air seconds before the truck explodes on camera. It's one of those clips that upon first glance personally freaked me out. I had to dive into the details, watch it a dozen times, pausing and unpausing, then watching it a dozen more times, especially after we just did that story on the time traveler who returned from the year 3700. The truck in question was the main story here, and rest in peace, first of all, to the driver, 24-year-old Anthony Carnival, who was transporting his barbecue and gas containers to his new home when the truck suddenly went up in flames. Reports say that the driver must have been unaware that the gas containers in the truck were partially open, leading to a gas leak that ignited from an uncapped 12-volt battery. Another reason why I just let someone else do the barbecuing. Now, when an Australian news site was covering this tragic accident, many people hit the comment section to point out the fact that a time traveler was vanishing in the background. Unfortunately, this took a lot of the attention away from the actual story of this poor man losing his life. Luckily, Energy Safe Victoria released a public awareness campaign about the risks involving unsecured valves, which resulted in an agreement to have all small gas cylinders equipped with a safety valve, but not until January 2020 for some unknown reason. I feel like that should be an immediate thing that we should do. A dude literally just barbecued himself because there aren't safety valves, and Australians said, we'll get around to it, mate. Maybe we should still worry about the dingoes eating all the babies. At least they started the process. I mean, so I feel like while they have that covered, let's cover this vanishing time traveler. With comments such as, does anyone else see the person walking on the footpath disappear into thin air? Or my favorite, no one else noticed the time traveler vanishing in the background? We thought we'd take a closer look and provide a more logical explanation for you. It's difficult to catch and you have to look very closely, but if you notice the moment before the man disappears, there's nothing else moving in the shot. There's no clouds moving, there's no birds flying, there's nothing moving. It happens so fast that it's very hard to catch, and the video editing is timed brilliantly. We see a white car moving across the intersection from the right side to the left, leaving the frame right as the man is walking, and the moment it's out of the frame, the man disappears and then the truck enters from the left side. At 4 seconds into the 19-second video clip, the man has seemingly dissolved. That's where the clip is cut, leading to it then jumping forward to the time where the truck enters, which would result in a continuity error with the footage. The reasoning for this clip could be as something as harmless as the news company having to cut down the footage so that they could post it. I don't personally think that someone's doing this to just trick the viewers or that a man actually vanished. It's one of those coincidences though that are obviously hard to ignore, even if the comments are overwhelming with people saying a person walking literally vanishes and seconds later the truck explodes. I mean, for conspiracy theorists, this is juicy footage that makes it really easy to ignore the small cut in the footage, and to the untrained eye, it would freak anyone out. I want to turn the question over to you people though. Is the man a vanishing time traveler? Was it a video editing continuity error? Or did someone doctor the footage later on to create a new story out of this? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.
So apparently, novelist Dean Koontz predicted the coronavirus in his 1981 science fiction book, The Eye of Darkness. And okay, I'm normally not the type of person to believe in these coincidences, but the similarities between the novel coronavirus and the coronavirus in this novel, whoa, another coincidence! Okay, so here's the deal. People on social media are pointing out the similarities between a deadly virus in a book that was written 40 years ago and coronavirus. The similarities are so similar that people think that the author is either a prophet or a time traveler, which is both cool and scary considering how scary the virus is that he described. Back in '81, Dean Koontz wrote a book called The Eye of Darkness. The book is a science fiction novel about a virus spreading around the world known as, get this, Wuhan 400. Which, if you haven't been paying attention before now, is the place the novel coronavirus originated. It gets freakier, okay? Take a look at the screenshots from the book. In around 2020, a severe pneumonia-like illness will spread throughout the globe, attacking the lungs and the bronchial tubes and resisting all known treatments. Okay, so the date is right, the type of virus is right, coronavirus has pneumonia-like symptoms, and it's spread across the world. And there is no known cure for coronavirus. People can, however, get treatment for their symptoms. But wait, there's more. Here's another passage. For one thing, you can only become an infectious carrier only 4 hours after coming into contact with the virus. That's an incredibly short incubation period. Once infected, no one lives more than 24 hours. Most die in 12. It's worse than the Ebola virus in Africa, infinitely worse. So this is one thing that isn't similar. Coronavirus has a very low mortality rate, 2 to 3%, not 100% like the virus described in The Eye of Darkness. But did you think I was done yet? No, I'm not. I'm never done. Never. A character in the book says that the virus was used by the Chinese to wipe out a city or a country, and also that it was a biological weapon developed at their RDNA labs outside the city of Wuhan, which is another strange coincidence. Right now, there is no official proof that the coronavirus is a biological weapon, but if you've been following my coverage of the novel coronavirus, one of the most popular theories about it is that it was created in a lab, specifically the Wuhan Institute of Virology. According to the World Health Organization though, the virus originated at a wet market in Wuhan, China, and transmitted from animals to humans. So it should be noted that in other prints of the book, particularly the ones that were printed in China or Russia, the virus in the book was named Gorky 400. That was the original name for the virus in The Eye of Darkness. The name of the virus was changed to Wuhan 400 in 1989 when it was published following the collapse of the Soviet Union. But other than that, like, You know, a couple little differences. The parallels between this fictional virus and the coronavirus are so uncanny, it makes me think we're living in the Matrix. So if this book could be a prophecy, it did have some positive things to say about coronavirus. Almost more baffling than the illness itself will be the fact that it will suddenly vanish as quickly as it arrived, attack again 10 years later, then disappear completely. Doesn't that kind of sound like what happened with SARS? Okay, so it's highly unlikely that Dean Koontz is a time traveler or a prophet. This is all just one big scary coincidence. Or is it? Nothing is a coincidence.
A time traveler from the year 2030 claims that Canada will merge with the US. apextv is at it again with their wild time traveler confession style videos. I honestly don't know how they find these people. Did someone from Apex just put out an ad in the paper? Dear sir or madam, do you believe you come from the future? Do you have a pulse and a blurry face? Then you are a perfect candidate for our conspiracy theory videos. A video of a man who looks fresh out of college appeared on their channel and he claims that he's from the year 2030. The video hit 17,000 views in just one day. The odd thing though is that he seems to only own that one red sweater as he spouts off about future predictions he claims that he saw. Someone get this man some new clothes. He's so filled with knowledge from the future that he totally forgot to buy more clothes. Noah has around 27 video interviews with apextv as far back as a year ago, and guess what? Same red shirt. Get a new shirt. But let's get to his claims about this big North America merger. He claims that when the United States joins with Canada and Mexico, Canada will act as a district for the super country, as he calls it, much like how a state works or a province such as Ontario works in Canada. He also claims that the climate throughout the three countries will differ drastically. In the video interview he says Canada's population increases amazingly due to the fact that once global warming, which is a really big issue in the future, starts impacting it, the south area of Canada becomes hotter. But guess what, Noah? Global warming is a really big issue right now, and Canada's population is almost expected to grow because with rising sea levels in areas of the United States, these people won't have anywhere really else to go. And it'll be a mass push of American refugees that will seek shelter further north. It's an interesting theory that's possible, but I'm not believing for a second that he's from a future where this has already happened. Currently, the population of Canada is just over 37 million people, which is less than the population of California. That's just to give you some perspective on just how large Canada's landmass is. Now, as to the question of whether or not these countries will merge, it would come down to a few different things. Either a state of emergency from war or a natural disaster that forces the neighboring countries together. However, that would also depend upon who's in power at the time of these events occurring. It would be smart for these three countries to become one because they would stand as one of the greatest superpowers on the planet. I also think it's more likely for Canada and the US to merge because we share a lot of the same Western culture and way of life. The only thing separating us is laws and some lines drawn on a map a really long time ago. I want to hear your thoughts on this story though, so comment down below. Do you believe Noah is from the future, and do you think that eventually Canada, the US, and Mexico will have to become one super country?
Noah the time traveler this time has proof that he has time traveled in the form of a video. The video shows the devastating effect of global warming, and I'm going to tell you all about it right now on IO. Welcome back to InformOverload, where we sometimes make fun of time travelers. I'm Charlotte Dobre. Make sure you smash the subscribe for some more videos. apextv is back at it again with another interview with Noah the time traveler. I feel like I know Noah so well now, but for those that don't, here's the deal. Noah claims to be a time traveler, originally from the year 2030. He ended up in the year 2018 after a failed mission and intends to spread the truth about the secrets of time travel. Noah has done several interviews with apextv, always with his face blurred out and his voice is altered. But this time, Noah has brought proof that he has time traveled, along with a terrifying warning about the future. He traveled to the year 2120 and took a video of Las Vegas, Nevada that shows the devastating effects of global warming. The video shows a futuristic city with red clouds and flying vehicles. Noah says he can remember it being incredibly hot, and the red clouds are global warming, just global warming. He doesn't say what the clouds are made of, just that they are global warming. As usual with the other time traveler videos, people pointed out a bunch of things that seem rather stinky about this video, other than it being 16 minutes of rambling nonsense. Thanks to the eagle-eyed commenters, the video that Noah shows is apparently not from the year 2120. Apparently it's actually a clip from Star Wars. Another said, why is he using a current time phone and not one from the future? That is a good point. Why is Noah using a phone from 2018 instead of a phone from its time period, 2030? Noah claims that he can't say a lot about the future because of paradoxes, and saying anything will mess up the future. But he maintains that the video he showed is from the future. It is not CGI, it is not altered in any way. Some good news though, apparently there are aliens on Earth in the future, but they're actually not as smart as humans. They're only more advanced at space travel. So at least there's that. Anyways friends, you know my take on time travelers. I find them rather annoying, but a lot of people watch these videos. Clearly some people believe them. I personally feel as though they really need to cast a different actor. Come on Apex, I know you guys are making some decent money at what you do. At least give the role of the time traveler to someone who can pretend to know what he's talking about. Am I right? A man who claims to have time traveled to the 45th century shows us his time machine. Finally, some concrete proof that time travel exists. Just kidding, not really actually. Let's meet David, who's from Slovenia. David has been studying physics since he was very young. He's a big fan of Nikola Tesla. He used his knowledge to build his own time machine. According to David, this machine can send people through time by harnessing electricity and water. That doesn't sound very safe. Don't try this at home, kids. David said he left his family and everything he knows in order to make the time machine and research time travel. During his travels, he met a person who was wounded by a laser weapon. He also met other time travelers, like someone who had been to the 35th century, and another who had made his own time machine which he used to time travel only 40 times. Only 40 times, guys. That's sissy shit. Do you even lift? Do you even wormhole? So what does the future look like? Well, firstly, in the 45th century, the buildings are very tall, 500 floors. Oh, and people drive flying cars. Which sounds pretty cool. Why did he come back to the 21st century? Why did any of these time travels choose the 21st century? Also, have you ever noticed that there's no female time travelers? Or any time travelers that aren't white, male, and European? Are you ready to see this spectacular time machine? Here it is. Wait. That's not a time machine. That's a disassembled laptop. I know because I smashed mine the last time I broke up with my boyfriend. Yes, the last time. Okay guys, what would it take to convince you that these time travelers are legit? For me, it's like, why don't you test this time machine on camera? A time traveler who claims to be from the year 2030 says that he met himself from 40 years in the future. The two of them gave an interview together on apextv, and we're gonna talk about it right now on IO. Our friends at apextv have done it again, and they've brought together two time travelers, or rather one time traveler, but one is a version from himself from 2030 and one is from 2070. Both of their faces are blocked out in the interview. The time traveler is Noah Novak, and he claims to be from 2030. He's been on the channel apextv before. apextv received an email from someone who claims to be Noah, but from 2070. When the two of them met, future Noah told the other Noah information that only Noah knows about himself. Only Noah knows, only Noah knows. Say that 10 times fast. According to 2030 Noah, it's the type of stuff that someone would have to stalk him for his whole life to figure out. Noah from 2070 also shares some details about the future, some of them worrisome. Firstly, Donald Trump will be re-elected in 2020. AI is going to be the dominant form of technology. Bitcoin is going to be one of the main forms of currency. And there's also going to be a war that's being fought from space, using satellites. But of course, he doesn't share specific details about the future because everyone from the future is fitted with these special microchips in their wrists, which stop them from revealing anything to people which might change the course of history. How convenient. I would also like to point out just one little thing, one very specific little but also big thing, before everyone starts typing in the comments, "Oh, it's fake news, these stories are fake, these time travelers aren't real." Yes, we know that they probably are fake. I don't know for sure. I've never time traveled, but Noah from 2070 is significantly shorter than Noah from 2030, and I guess he's also gained quite a bit of weight, so yeah. There are plenty of ways that apextv could prove that these two people are the same person. Fingerprints, blood tests, scars. I don't know guys, this seems pretty fishy to me. Either both of these men have a few screws loose or this is a full-on hoax. Or maybe they're real time travelers. I don't know. A time traveler who claims to have traveled to the year 8973 has contacted the YouTube channel apextv to tell his story. Is this another hoax, or is it possible that this guy has actually been to the future? The people at apextv claim to have received a video confession from a man named William Taylor, who claims to be a government official for the British Intelligence Agency. William Taylor says that they have developed the technology to move between parallel universes, but the technology is being kept a secret. Using this machine, which is a lead sphere, he claims that he time traveled multiple times. Time travel was accomplished for the first time in 1981. British intelligence developed a mechanism that allows people to time travel to an infinite number of of different universes and different time periods. William Taylor says that in the year 3000, the sky is full of both pollution and flying transportation, but he could only see the lights because the smog was so thick. So why now? Why come forward now? William Taylor says that he is putting himself at risk by exposing this technology to the public. He says that he simply feels that he needs to come forward for the good of humanity. Alright, so I'm gonna go ahead right now and say that although William's story is interesting, I do feel like if he was telling the truth, he would be in a lot of trouble. Not to mention, he was reading a script in the video, so if someone is really speaking from memory, they wouldn't need a script in front of them. Right? Not to mention, at one point in the video he actually got the year wrong. He says that when he time traveled to the year 8973, a lady in a park told him it was 8793. So that's kinda like a dead giveaway, I feel like. Don't get me wrong, I do believe time travel is possible. It is actually theoretically possible, and maybe one day we'll develop the technology to be able to do it. But Apex TV is known for posting these types of interviews with time travelers because people love watching them. A time traveler who claims to have traveled to the year 2987 has shared what our future looks like. A channel called Apex TV is sometimes contacted by people who claim to be time travelers. They flew to Armenia to interview this guy. This man, who sits on a park bench with his face blurred out, says that he was doing military service for his country when he was about 20 years old. The Soviet army had a ton of top secret military weapons that we don't know about. They also apparently have a top secret time machine. It's called the History Corrector. It was a huge machine with two big rings, and people were forced to stand in the middle. It used magnetism and electricity. He says that in 1987, the Soviets used him in an experiment where they wanted to send him to the 16th and 17th centuries to make changes to Russian history. But scientists couldn't really figure out how to send anyone to the past, so instead, they sent him to the future, to the year 2987. So what's life like in the year 2987? That's almost like 1,000 years from now. Apparently, the people from this time period were basically robots. They wore strange clothes made of some unknown material. People also didn't seem to walk anywhere. They moved from point A to point B by, I guess, like teleporting? Everything from 2987 levitated. Cars, people, and buildings were covered in solar panels. The world was split up into 4 main countries: the Soviet Union, the United States, the Asian Federation, and a place called RA. In the year 2987, we also have gotten the capability to go to different planets, Mars included. But Mars is now not the red desert we know it as today. There are trees and oceans on Mars, and apparently the ocean is purple. He kinda lost me at that part, to be honest, but anyways, I'd be down for a purple ocean. I just am not sure if that's possible. So guys, do you believe him? Does it sound like he could be telling the truth? Why or why not? Let me know in the comments below. Noah the Time Traveler, the faceless time traveler who makes regular appearances on the YouTube channel Apex TV, has come forward to say that Noah the Time Traveler is just a character. Really? Never would have guessed that. The internet has become quite aware of Noah the Time Traveler over the last few years. Noah is known for his predictions of the future and for bringing back objects from other time periods. He claims to be from the year 2030, and his predictions were all over the place at one point. He said that he had taken a picture of dinosaurs when he traveled to 66 million years ago. He said that Britain would rejoin the EU, and also by 2030, most of the east and west coasts of the United States would be underwater. Of course, the videos featuring Noah the Time Traveler were racking up millions of views and ultimately hundreds of thousands of dollars for Apex TV. Apex TV is a YouTube channel that specializes in paranormal mysteries, and it turns out that Noah is actually just a 16-year-old vlogger and his name isn't even Noah. What? His name is not Noah? His real name is Dennis Bell, and he was posing as a time traveler because, surprise surprise, it earned him money. Dennis revealed in a vlog, which was actually claimed by Apex TV, that he crafted the character of Noah when he was only 14 after Apex TV offered him money to make a fake time traveler video. Dennis said in his video, "I can't believe I'm making this right now. It's absolutely insane that I'm actually recording this and I'm saying everything finally." He says, "Hello everyone, my name is Dennis and I'm Noah the Time Traveler, the famous time traveler who was all over the internet at one point." So why did Dennis decide to come forward after all this time? So apparently as he got more and more popular, he was getting death threats. Because this is the internet. He was always afraid of being exposed as a fake, and the threat of exposure was always looming over him. He had to delete one of his YouTube channels where he used his real identity after hundreds of internet users flooded the comment section accusing Dennis of posing as Noah the Time Traveler. Turns out they were right. Dennis also said that Apex TV wanted him and his parents to sign an NDA, which is a non-disclosure agreement. They wanted him to promise to never reveal his true identity. You know, it's funny, there was actually a time when we were supposed to interview Noah the Time Traveler a while back, but it didn't work out. Kinda forget why. I don't know if you guys noticed, but we stopped doing time traveler stories on this channel since I started picking the stories, and that's because I hated them. I hated them so much! They sounded so fake, and even though the stories almost always did well, I strongly disliked reporting on them because I knew they were fake. Like, come on, Dennis apologized to anyone he had fooled with his fake persona. All he wants is to continue on as a regular YouTuber on his channel Dennis Bell, and he hopes that the internet will accept him for who he really is. Truthfully, Noah the Time Traveler and also other time traveler videos are almost always hoaxes. There's no current known technology that would allow us to time travel, and even if there was, time travelers would never make themselves known to the public. So honestly, like, no harm done because I pretty much knew that they were fake to begin with. Did Noah the Time Traveler fool you? Let me know in the comments and tell me your thoughts on this story down there. While you're doing that, I'm gonna respond to some comments from previous videos. These comments were from our video, "You've been eating corn wrong your whole life." Rekha said, "Next video, you've been watching InformOverload wrong. You're meant to watch it upside down so Charlotte is flying because she's an angel." 10 out of 10 would recommend. Asian47 said, "Now this channel teaches me how to eat food properly." Yes, you're welcome. Wild Pony said, "At day 42 of commenting the same thing without getting featured." Honestly, how am I supposed to know that that was the 42nd day that you've commented? You could just say that. Maybe you're just saying that because you're trying to get featured. Miriam said, "I always like BBC but better, and I don't think I'm the only one that thinks you hosts are so funny." No, I think you're the only one that thinks that. Okay, that's it for me. Thanks for watching. To keep watching, click on this playlist and leave a like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, and I will see you in a future IO video. Bye.